Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Chris and welcome back to a brand new Sonic video where today I'm going to be discussing 12 things I want to see in a Sonic movie 2, and at the end of the video 2 things I want to see but I don't think will exactly make it into a sequel. But before I start the list, I want to clarify that these 12 things are in no specific order, so without further ado, let's get started. At number 12 is More Green Hills, which is a location in the Sonic the Hedgehog series that is a lush, natural paradise with picturesque mountains, green fields, lakes, waterfalls, palm trees, and many loop-de-loops. The Green Hills that we know from the games did make a brief appearance in the opening scene of the Sonic movie for the origin story, but it was just referred to as the island that Sonic lived on, and after Longclaw sacrificed herself for Sonic to escape and sent him to Earth, we didn't see any more of this iconic zone from the games and continued the story in a small town called Green Hills on Earth. So when I say Green Hills, I'm referring to the iconic game version of the location in Sonic's universe, but it would be neat to see Sonic call the island Green Hills because of the town that he lived in on Earth. And I find the movie returning to Green Hills highly likely because it seems like the most logical place Tails would come from when he exited the warp ring in the post-credit scene of the movie when he is searching for Sonic on Earth to get his help. In number 11, I have the introduction to the Critters and Badniks. Now starting with the Critters, which if you didn't know are animals that live in various regions across Sonic's world in the games, comics, and TV shows. I want to see Critters make an appearance in future movies because they are close friends of Sonic and his allies and can make a simple side story as they are constantly targeted by Dr. Eggman, who seeks to use them as energy sources, so he often imprisons them in capsules for later use to turn them into various Badniks. Now if you didn't know, Badniks are presented as minions of Dr. Robotnik and serve as obstacles to Sonic and friends during their adventures. There are many different versions of Badniks like the Motobug, the Buzz Bomber, the Neutron, the Chopper, and the Crabme, but there are a ton more. So it would be nice to see an introduction to Critters, how they're captured and turned into Eggman's tool for supremacy, how Sonic feels about this, and how he saves them. I know this is kind of two things into one, but Flickies are so closely intertwined with the Badniks that I put them together, so I think this would be a simple storyline they could implement in the sequel if we return to Green Hills. In number 10, I have the return of Longclaws, and after some consideration and suggestions from you guys, I could see Longclaws returning in a sequel in 3 possible situations. For one, I could see Longclaws returning as a flashback, as if Sonic does indeed return to Green Hills. I would imagine he would have some memories of his childhood and her raising him in that tree village that he grew up in. The second situation is that Longclaws could still be held hostage by the Echidnas, as one of you did suggest that time in Sonic's universe may be different, like Sonic was on Earth for 10 years, but that could be, say, 1 year in Green Hills. And the third situation is that Longclaws may have somehow survived the Echidnas and escaped as her wings weren't injured from the arrow shot, so she may have been making sure that the warp ring closed in time and then flied away. In number 9, I have Eggman coming to Green Hill, as I think that if Sonic returns with Tails to Green Hill, Eggman could possibly follow them and see the island as a world to take over or destroy to get revenge on Sonic. Eggman could also see Green Hills as an opportunity to use his IQ to build more sophisticated robots with or without the Critters, new technology, maybe to use the land to make something similar to Robotropolis from Sonic SAT-AM, the Death Egg, and maybe eventually Eggman Land. But of course I don't expect Dr. Eggman to do all those things in one movie. Those are just a few ideas that I have that I think maybe 1 or 2 might happen in a sequel, or he might plan to do in the future. In number 8, I have a more traditional Eggman, as I want to see the movie version become more like the game version of the character, and as many of you know from the final scene in the Sonic movie, Eggman is getting to that point, growing a large mustache, slowly going crazy, and developing that Mike Pollock voice and laugh. But I'd also like Eggman to bulk up a bit in size and wear something similar to his iconic blue glasses, the red turtleneck jacket, the black pants, and the white gloves. And for the personality, I'd like Eggman to be more short-tempered, greedy, and a cruel evil genius who is constantly planning to take over the world, which I think Jim Carrey can handle and will do a hilarious job with. In number 7, I want to see an origin story for Tails and his friendship with Sonic, and if you don't know who Tails is, he's another well-known character in the Sonic franchise, who is a fox with 2 distinct twin tails and appeared in the post-credit scene of the movie. So we already know that Tails would definitely be in a Sonic movie sequel, however I'd like to see the movie give an origin for Tails, maybe through a flashback, as the games have not really touched on it, and there are different versions in the comics and TV shows. But the most common origin story for Tails is that he was a victim of bullying during his youth because of his two tails. However, one day he met Sonic the Hedgehog and was inspired to be as cool as him after he saw him run past him. So Tails soon began following Sonic on his adventures, and he has since become his best friend and sidekick. I also think that this could create a nice character arc for Tails, who was once a fox who lacked courage, but after meeting Sonic became more confident, eventually growing into a more outgoing, brave, independent individual and a hero in his own right. So I'd like to see Tails get his own quick origin, and it might not be the same as what I stated, but possibly similar, and they could adapt it to the movie, where maybe Longclaws escapes and survives the echidnas and raises Tails, but I definitely want to see him grow as a character, become Sonic's best friend, and sidekick in a sequel. And in number 6, I have Amy Rose, who if you didn't know is a pink hedgehog and a friend of Sonic, and I think it's pretty likely to see her in a sequel, as it has already been reported that Amy Rose will appear in a Sonic movie too, which is no surprise as she is also a well-known and popular fan-favorite character in the franchise. And a possible side plot I could see happening to Amy in the movie is Eggman capturing her for a period of time and Sonic and Tails having to save her. So I would like to see Amy in a sequel, as I've also heard that the Sonic movie universe will be a trilogy, so I'd rather be introduced in the second movie than the third. And it would also add another female character for the film, especially if we leave Tika Sumpter's character on Earth and return to Green Hills. In number 5, I want to see Sonic's parents or relatives, as in the games this has really never been explored, but in the comics, Sonic had a father named Jules and his mom Bernadette, who were once soldiers and spies for the Kingdom of Acorn during the Great War against the Overlands. And if we don't get to see Sonic's parents, maybe we could possibly see his relatives like in the comics and TV shows, with Sir Charles Hedgehog or Uncle Chuck. He's an older hedgehog who is the uncle of Sonic and the inventor of the roboticizer in Sonic Sat AM. But I'm not expecting them to implement any of the storylines from the comics or TV shows into the movie, but it would still be nice to have hints or actually see Sonic's parents or relatives if they return to Green Hills. In number 4, I want to see the introduction of Knuckles, who if you didn't know is a red echidna who is determined, serious, and a powerful fighter with spiked hands. Now we already know that the echidnas do indeed exist in the movie universe, as we saw the tribe try to capture young Sonic because of his power, and many people have speculated that maybe Knuckles was present somewhere in the opening scene, but nothing has been confirmed. So if we do go back to Green Hills, I think Knuckles, who is one of the series' most popular characters, will appear, maybe as part of the echidna tribe or the last surviving member as in the games. In number 3, I want to see a Knuckles vs Sonic scene, as if Knuckles is in the sequel, I don't think him and Sonic will instantly be friends, as Sonic would definitely remember how the Echidna tribe tried to capture him and apparently killed Longclaws, and maybe Knuckles and the Echidna still want Sonic's power. Another possibility is that Eggman could trick Knuckles and maybe even the entire Echidna tribe into believing that Sonic is the bad guy like in Sonic Free, when Robotnik turned the two against each other while he repairs the Death Egg. So if we do see Knuckles in a sequel, I think him and Sonic will possibly have a fight or conflict before becoming friends. In number 2, I want to see the Chaos Emeralds and Super Sonic. Now starting with the Chaos Emeralds, which if you didn't know are a collection of mystical gemstones that appear as major plot elements throughout the Sonic series. And the power of the Chaos Emeralds can initiate things like super transformation, warping time and space, and powering machines, which would give Dr. Eggman another thing to try to seize for his power, and a reason to come to Green Hill if they're on the island, because anyone who combines all 7 Chaos Emeralds are said to control ultimate power. So I'd like to see the Chaos Emeralds in a sequel so that we can see Super Sonic, which is a transformation achieved by harnessing the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and since its debut in Sonic 2, it has been the most commonly used transformation, and it gives Sonic the ability to fly, have enhanced super speed, super strength, acrobatic skills, reflexes, and virtual invincibility. So I think seeing the Chaos Emeralds in Super Sonic is something that we'll definitely see in the sequel, as the director confirmed that it was originally going to be in the script for the Sonic movie, and it would be cool to see Sonic use it for, say, a bigger final battle. And in number 1, I want to see Metal Sonic, who if you didn't know is the character that serves as a robotic doppelganger for Sonic who appears in the games and comics. Metal Sonic is the most famous and strongest robotic creation of Dr. Eggman, who was able to match and surpass Sonic's abilities. Metal Sonic is also another popular and fan-favorite villain in the Sonic franchise, who I think the Sonic movie can easily integrate. For one, Dr. Eggman still has Sonic's quill as seen in the final scene of the movie, and it was stated earlier in the movie to have unlimited power, which allowed Eggman to travel at Sonic speed in San Francisco. So I do believe that Eggman will use Sonic's quill to create Metal Sonic, but I don't think that Metal Sonic will be the main antagonist in the next movie, but possibly in the post-credit scene as a hint to even more movies down the line. So those are my 12 things I want to see in a Sonic movie 2, but it's mentioned at the beginning of the video there are 2 things I do want to see but I don't think will be in a sequel, and that is Silver and Shadow, 2 of my favorite Sonic characters. But I don't think a sequel will have enough time to explain either one of their stories, and I don't want to cram the sequel with unnecessary characters and storylines, as the only way that I see them making it into a sequel is by changing their origins. But I'd rather them be saved for a future Sonic movie, or if the Sonic movie universe does well, they could have their own spin-off movies. So without further ado, that is going to wrap it up for today's Sonic video on 12 things I want to see in a Sonic movie 2. And don't forget to go and let me know 12 things you want to see in a Sonic sequel in the comment section below. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to go and leave a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye.